we have to move this beautiful boa. This is a VPIT positive albino motley jungle. What's up, snake fans? Dave Palumbo here for Muscle Serpents Daily. As you can see, it's dark, but I cannot let you guys down. We must do a video today. Can't skip days, right? Although I did miss a day earlier this week. My computer stopped functioning. Luckily, I have a good friend in New York who likes to log into my computer remotely and fix all my problems. What? I have a weird shadow. Anyway, so we did get a clutch of eggs. I told you, we're still getting them. It's crazy. I know, we're in October and we're still getting clutches from 23. It's just the wackiest breeding season of all time. We'll take a look at that clutch. Plus, we're going to be looking at some really cool boas. I just was going through the collection, filling up water bowls, and I just got carried away with the boas. I love my Img Boas. That's increasing melanistic gene boas. The first one I ever saw was at Pete Call's. I believe Pete Call was the first person to ever really prove out an Img Boa. He bought one, I think he picked it up at Daytona. And I'm telling you, when I went to his facility back in the day, those Img Boas were so big and scary because they're completely pitch black. And that's where it all started. As a matter of fact, when I got there that day, this had to be back in 2014, probably. His IMG had just given birth, and he had bred an IMG to a hypo VPIT positive, and we pulled about 40 babies out. I mean, that's how these snakes were big, and they had a lot of babies, and it was like one of the coolest experiences of my life. Anyway, flash forward 10 years, and we're producing IMGs here all the time, and I'm going to show you some of my really cool IMG combos I have, so stay tuned. All right, so this girl finally gave us a clutch. It looks like there's a lot of slugs in there. I think there might only be one good egg, but she hasn't, she took last year off, and we got a late clutch this year, so sometimes you never know. And she's always been a really good breeder for me. She's always produced a lot of young. I think it was the father. He just was a late bloomer. Some of these ball pythons will breed at 6 months. Sometimes they got to be 2 years or more. And I bred him to her for 2 years straight. And I kept saying, I'm going to keep doing it until he proves out that he can actually produce a viable clutch. I'm not putting with any other females. So I kind of used her as my, test bed because I knew she was a proven breeder. So I figured she had experience. Until he produced babies with her, I was not going to waste them on another female. And so that's exactly what we did. So now I know he's good to go. We can maybe send a shed in. Maybe we'll test to see because he's 50% het clown. He's GHI lesser acid, and she's a Mojave. So we're going to look for the GHI Mojave combos that we love so much, and possibly get acid in there as well, and lesser. So we're going to pull her. We're going to check that one egg that looks like it's the only really good one there. And it's funny because since I've been using the cocoa blocks, she actually had this clutch yesterday. Normally I pull them right away because everything dries out. She's been laying on this clutch for about 36 hours now. The eggs look, well, most of them are slugs, but that one egg looks nice and moist because the cocoa blocks hold the moisture. She's been laying on top of it, and it's funny because now I don't have to panic when these snakes lay clutches of eggs. I don't have to pull it out like a second later because I'm afraid that maybe they're going to dry out or something like that. So that's another good advantage of the cocoa blocks. All right, we washed her off, cleaned her up, and she's looking nice. It's funny because she waited so long that she laid, that big clutch of eggs. It was probably about 7 slugs, 1 regular one, and she doesn't even look like she missed a beat. Like I bet I could start breeding her in like probably a month or two, and she'd probably go fine next year. So that's the advantage of having a big ball python female. I'll probably put her up and sell her as a proven breeder, just because once again I have so many new grow-ups that are ready to go into the breeding project this year that I have to move breeders. So people are interested, like look on my Morph Market account, you'll see the breeders I have, and this girl will be added to that probably more than likely. All right, here's the father of the clutch. This is a GHI, which I love. And for those of you who don't know, maybe you're just getting into ball python breeding. GHI stands for gotta have it. It's a dark morph. Add some. It's one of the few morphs that really adds a lot of darkness to a ball python. A lot of stuff lightens stuff. GHI is darken. Lesser, which obviously we know reduces pattern and lightens things up a little bit. Acid, which messes up the ordering of pattern. And this is a 50% head clown. So we didn't try to prove the 50% head clown out on this clutch because the female was only a Mojave. We were trying to see what the GHI Mojave acid might look like is really what we're trying to do. This little boy is really cool looking. Just the GHI lesser acid aspect of it makes this really cool. I got this guy in a trade years ago, and I just thought he was so cool. I believe we're also breeding him to something clown to see if we can prove the clown out as well. Actually, we're not, but I'm going to this year for sure. He was not, we bred him the last 2 years, and he really wasn't giving us any viable clutches, so I didn't want to put him with a clown and waste him. But now that we have something that was produced via his fatherhood, or as him as the sire, we'll probably put him with a clown and try to prove whether he's head clown. I might actually just send his shed in and have him tested. Now that we can genetically test if something's head clown, that'll probably solve things quicker, so I don't have to waste a clown girl on this boy. Now, if it comes back head clown, then there's no waste for sure, and then we can get acid into the clown project pretty quickly because this boy's absolutely ready to breed. He's proven now, and I think we have good things to see from him in the future. All right, there it is. One humongous egg. Look at this. This is a big egg. The other ones were all slugs, no good, infertile. I thought this might just not be fertile, but I candled it. There's an embryo and there's blood vessels in there. What makes a female lay a clutch of eggs like that where only one egg looks absolutely amazing, completely fertile, and the other one's not? I have no idea. It baffles me. I've been doing this for 10 years now, and it still baffles me how some clutches will do that. And I've had clutches where there was one egg and it looked horrendous, and I said, you know what? There's no way I think this thing's going to make it. And it's hatched an amazing baby, so you can never tell. And we could hit nothing on this egg. We can get a normal out of this, or we can hit maybe a GHI Mojave lesser, and have it be amazing. So, and even maybe we can get acid in there. So you just never know. We'll find out in 60 days. All right, we have to move this beautiful boa. This is a VPIT positive albino motley jungle. So it's the VPIT positive line of albino with the motley gene and jungle in there. Beautiful male. He's ready to breed for sure. He's in 2019. I got to figure out if I want to put him into the breeding program this year or not. If I have a spot for him, that's the key. I don't have that many female that are ready to go, and that's going to dictate whether I put him with a female or not this year. But he's definitely ready, and I got to move him from my Australia room into my boa room. All right, here's a little beautiful male boa. I produced him I think last year I produced him, so he's about a year old now. This is a blood Gilbert T positive, possible het leopard as well. Oh boy, as you can see, he's got some really nice reds in him. And look at his belly. See the reds in there. I held him back because he's beautiful, and I'm pretty sure he's T positive, Gilbert T positive, but I'm not 100% sure. I would bet my bottom dollar on it, but I'm always getting fooled by these guys. So really, until I prove him out, I really won't know. He's definitely a holdback, so I don't care that much. But I'm calling him a blood Gilbert T positive, possible het leopard. And we're gonna let him continue to grow, and we'll see how he does, probably in another year or so. He's a dwarf boa too, so he's not gonna get very big, but he's only a year old now, so we definitely need at least another year on him. Now here's a motley blood male. It's het albino, het call albino. And This guy's also a year old, so probably in the same category as the one I just showed you. He's a little nastier. And I wanted to show you the difference because, you know, this is definitely blood. Motley makes things darker, but it brings out a lot of blood characteristics because it does add darkness, and it just creates more contrast. But you can see, let's see if we can maybe get these guys together. You can see how much lighter that one is with that Gilbert T positive in it, and that's why I think it's in there. It looks fluorescent almost. It lights up a lot more. They're about the same size. Both going to require another year. This one I think is the Motley gene that's in here. I'm pretty sure it's a Colombian Motley, so I don't think it's going to get a lot bigger than the other one is. So, and it's head call albino, so it's definitely going to get bigger. It's got Colombian blood in it, and so I suspect within next year this one's going to take off and be a lot bigger than the other one will be, whereas the other one's going to kind of stay smaller, and that's okay. That's what it's all about. Looking really nice. Now this female would be ideal to breed to that male I showed you initially, which was the VPIT positive jungle Motley. She's a White Walker lion and she looks VPIT positive, but she's not. She's actually only het, but she's a jungle Motley hypo with that pastel line, the White Walker pastel line in there. She's het for VPIT positive and anery, but you can just see her pattern's so blanked out and she's really light looking. But she's only a 21, you know, so she's 2 years old, but she's gonna have to get a lot bigger than this to breed. So she's just not ready for that little boy in the other room. She might be next year or the year after. We gotta see. I've had her since she's a little baby. Good friend of mine gave me her, and I just love her. I actually had a whole clutch of her litter mates, and we just sold the last ones recently, and I kept her back. She was my only holdback. She was just exquisite. This little boy escaped the other day. I couldn't believe it. This is a Img, increasing melanistic gene. As the snake gets older, it gets darker and darker, but it also has the hypo gene and the labby gene in it, labyrinth gene. I showed you him the other day, and he just shed. He looks so nice. I wanted to show you again. Funny, when I go through my snake cages, if I see something that I get excited about, I want to show you guys. And once again, you can see the Img gene is kind of limited to the pattern area of pattern, but at the same time, there is a lot of like black, gravelly looking stuff throughout the body as well. I've seen some labbies that have more black than others. It's very variable. It's kind of like Scoria Img. Some Scoria Imgs are really dark and some are hardly black at all. Speaking of Img Scorias, here's an Img Scoria male that will definitely go into the breeding program this year. He's about 2.5 years old, and you can see a lot of people didn't even know if he was going to be. People said, I don't think he's Img, but as you can see, he just kept getting more and more black, but his whole body is not saturated with black. He just has black, and he's getting more in his tail that he never had, but the black areas of his tail that are normally black were just expanding, and I saw it and kind of looked Img-ish to me, and now he's getting darker and darker. And it's surprising because Scoria reduces pattern, reduces darkness in a snake, so you never know how dark these guys will get. And I'm going to show you an Img Scoria that you're going to be like, holy mackerel. And you've seen them before if you watch my videos, but so here's one, this little boy, and now let's go take a look at another. Take a look at this Scoria. Unbelievable. Img Scoria. We saw her the other day. This is a female. She is almost completely black. It's unbelievable. And you can see the Scoria eye, and you can definitely tell she's Scoria, but I've had her since she had no pigment on her whatsoever. And she just got darker and darker. And I've seen very, very few Img Scorias that got this dark. I've seen Motley Img Scorias that got this dark, but not regular Img Scorias. And that's a testament to the fact that Img affects, these snakes that reduce pattern and color differently. Same thing, the labbies the same way. Some labbies get dark like this, some don't. And you can never tell, but you can see the difference between that one I showed you before and this one is just super saturated black. And that's why I love Scorias. They're just so unique looking, each and every one of them. And then you get a morph like this. This is an Img VPIT positive albino. So this is a very dark snake, but it's just never going to get completely pitch black, and it's not going to get completely dark, because the T positive albino, which doesn't remove all melanin but removes some melanin. Okay, look at that face. Look at that eye. It looks like it's camouflaged. You cannot make up a pattern more unique than this. No two IMG VPIT positives will look exactly the same. It's like a work of art. Each single one of them is a work of art. And I think that's why the IMG gene is so popular, because you never know what you're going to get with it. It starts out looking like a normal boa, or in this case, a normal VPIT positive, and then just as time progresses and as these snakes grow, they just get darker and darker. Same thing with the scorias. It's like you have 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or 20 different snakes at different stages of their life. And that's what makes them so exciting. So if you guys are into boas, one of the genes you really should get into is the IMG gene, because you just never know what it's going to express. And I got news for you. When someone comes over to your place to look at your snakes, or maybe not look at them, but you force them to look at it, they always go right to these crazy looking IMGs. They're just exquisite. And last boa of the day, one of my favorite IMGs. Since we're talking about IMGs, I don't know I didn't know if that was where we were going to go with today's video, but I guess it is. And this is a hypo IMG that's het VPIT positive. So it's not a VPIT positive albino, but it carries the gene for it. It looks like it's visual VPIT positive, but the hypo gene does something very similar to an IMG, okay, when you introduce it together, because hypo stops all the melanin from being deposited. So you get this chocolatey looking snake in certain areas with the hypo gene, but in some areas you get the black, but then in some areas you get nothing. So it's like you get like a mask around its face, and it looks like Batman, this thing. And it looks like some kind of a superhero with a mask on. And this male is a proven breeder. He made a beautiful litter with female last year for us, so he's a proven breeder. I'm pretty sure we're going to be keeping him and putting him back into the breeding program. Once again, I don't have a lot of VPIT positive females to breed that are breeders ready. They'll probably be ready next year, and so I don't know if this guy's going to get any action this year, but I'd certainly like to put him into a project if indeed our females are ready to go. One more snake for the day, since we are talking IMG. This is an IMG Black Gene Motley. So Black Gene is like one copy of having Leopard or one copy of Onyx. They're allelic to each other. I've shown you this guy a lot of times, but we're doing IMG, so I had to get one of the blackest IMGs I have. So as you can see, when you mix Motley and IMG together, you get a very black snake. And this snake is not even full grown yet. He's only a year old, and he's completely black already. And you can see the iridescence radiating off him, and just from the light hitting him, because he's so dark, And when you have a snake that's that dark, you get that iridescence. A lot of people have seen it in black retics or big black boas, and this is no different. You see that rainbow of iridescence, and that's just because the light reflecting. If I go back further, you'll see he's really black looking. But when you get close and you see the light reflect off him, let me see if I can zoom in here. You see that you can see that iridescence, but as you go back, you see the blackness. And this, usually from a distance, they look completely black, these snakes. So hope you guys got enough of a taste of IMG today that you want to get involved with the gene. If you do, hit me up, let me know. I got some babies for sale. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today here at Palumba's Pythons and Boas. Hope you enjoyed today's video. The clutch was not really a great one. We got one good egg. Amazingly, we did get one good egg, but we did prove out that male is viable and that he can, do his job and get the females pregnant. So we'll be putting him into the breeding program full force for this coming season. And that's so that, sometimes you have to just prove things out, and you might not get the greatest clutch, but at least you found out something about a very good male that you had that was necessary data you needed for your program. Also, hope you like the IMG boas and all the combinations, and hopefully we can make some even better ones this coming season. I haven't really figured out who I'm pairing up yet, but once I do, we'll probably do a video on it. All right, I hope you love what you see, and if you do, show us the love, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, hit that like button. I'll see you back tomorrow morning.